Let's get an update now from KwaZulu-Natal Cogta spokesperson Senzelwe Mzila. Mzila, thank you for your time and for joining us this morning. So are there already parts of the province that are experiencing heavy rains, and do you have any reports of incidences that may have occurred?
Good morning to you and good morning to the viewers at home. We can report that across the province, our disaster management teams are indeed on high alert. There's specific areas that we are focusing on. These are the areas surrounding Vryheid, surrounding areas of Majuba district. This is your Newcastle, and also parts of the Umzinyathi district. These are areas of Nquthu, and also parts of the Zululand district. These teams are working closely with local leadership within these municipalities. These teams are working closely with community members to ensure that these severe thunderstorms that are expected today cause minimal disruptions. As at this moment in time, we can indicate that there have been no major incidents, but our teams are on the ground and are monitoring the situation.
You speak of teams that are already on the ground. How prepared is the province should there be any eventuality of floods? I mean, we've seen in previous times a lot of people being severely affected in terms of displacements and others losing their lives. How ready are you as a department currently should those floods occur?
Well, the MEC for Cogta, Reverend Senzelwe Mzila, is committed to collaboration. The MEC, one of the first things that he did upon being given this task of leading this department, it was to sign an MOU with a number of stakeholders. These are NGOs that work for the community. And through this strategic partnership, we have been able to bring on board a lot of capacity as the province. You remember that last year, July, August, September, we had felt fires. We had also blizzards that attacked parts of the province. And so these stakeholders bring with themselves a lot of resources. Here we're talking about the ability to set up quickly relief to communities. We're talking about the ability to bring aerial support to put out fires. Also, we are talking about the ability to respond to snow should it occur. So the province is ready, and our teams are through the Provincial Disaster Management Center are ensuring that communities are constantly on the alert through engaging ward-based community structures and ensuring that this information that we get from the Weather Service is cascaded through to these important structures so that communities are always alert at all times.
You mentioned areas, Vryheid, Nquthu, Newcastle. Are there any other new warnings that you've received possibly from SAWS with regards to the possibility of those severe thunderstorms?
Yes, well, today we are expecting severe thunderstorms within these specific areas, and our teams are monitoring the situation closely. Now, one of the risks that come with severe thunderstorms is that of lightning strikes, which at times have caused many fatalities within the province. And to respond to this, the MEC for Cogta, Reverend Senzelwe Mzila, has embarked on a program to issue out lightning conductors to strategic areas within communities, and key areas that we've prioritized include Newcastle, Vryheid, and parts of the Nquthu area.
Are there any resolutions when you look back at gatherings such as the United Nations Climate Change Conference that you feel are filtered and cascaded down to at an operational level where people are now facing such climate change floods, or in any way that climate change would hit certain parts of KwaZulu-Natal? Are you finding that there's a translation of those resolutions in how some of these issues are dealt with from a ground level?
Yes, very important question. And under the leadership of the MEC Mzila, one of the key things that the department has been doing it is to engage directly with municipalities. Now, municipalities are legislatively compelled to compile integrated development plans, which are passed through the department. And one of the interventions that we've done, we've said to our municipalities that they must factor in the reality of climate change. They must factor in the reality of when we give them grant money, such as the municipal infrastructure grant, that is about 3 billion rand. One of the key things that we want them to focus on is building infrastructure that is climate change resilient. And our municipalities have been responding swiftly to this. We've seen when they submit their IDPs to us, they submit IDPs that factor in the issue of climate change. Also, we're working closely with a number of schools across the province through our provincial disaster management teams, and we are visiting schools as well, specifically with the aim to ensure that we inform our communities. Because when we are tackling climate change, the issue of communities being informed is very important, and the MEC for Cogta, Reverend Senzelwe Mzila, is committed to this, and the MEC continues also to engage with mayors across our municipalities to ensure that they are playing their part as well in being visible within our communities.
So in order to lessen the impact of any such eventuality, what's your plea to the communities that you've mentioned who might be hit hardest by these floods?
Well, the important thing for our communities that we're pleading is that we must not take any risks if there are low-lying bridges, and we can see that already the bridge is being flooded. We must not try to cross. And also, it's important as well as parents as well that when there are heavy rains, we must make sure that our children are not playing near large bodies of water. Also, it's quite important as well that those of us who are in areas that are prone to lightning strikes, we must take all the necessary precautions. Also, herders, if your animals are out in the field and there's a risk of lightning or lightning has started, the safest thing you can do is to not go out and to fetch those animals. So the department is working closely with Amakosi as well to ensure that these messages are spread out. But also, we are rolling out lightning conductors to ensure that we do protect public infrastructure and we do protect communities in strategic areas.
You mentioned earlier that between July and September last year, you were hard working with regards to some of the fault fires that affected communities in KZN. What would you say are some of the hardest lessons that you have learned from the experiences of the floods that have hit KZN previously, and how you now act out and ensure that residents are not impacted so much by any of these climate change eventualities?
Well, one of the things that the MEC pointed out in his experience, the Cogta MEC, Reverend Senzelwe Mzila, is the fact that we saw with the veld fires that a number of rural municipalities bore the brunt of the veld fires that destroyed millions of hectares of arable land, of land that is used for grazing for animals and crops. So the MEC also picked up that our municipalities, specifically the ones that are rural, don't have much resources. And for example, in the area of Nquthu, one of the challenges that it faced, it was that the nearest fire station is a good 100 kilometers away in the area of Epangeni. And so they had to take about 4 or 5 hours just to get to come and deal with the veld fires. So as part of his intervention, as we speak right now, there are teams that are on the ground in Nquthu conducting or constructing a fire station that would benefit the community. But also, it doesn't stop there. The MEC is working closely as well with a number of departments across the province and across the country to ensure that resources are provided. As we speak right now, there are about 10 fire trucks that the MEC will be handing over to rural municipalities, specifically with the aim of beefing up their capacity to be able to respond to these incidents. As we know that our rural municipalities, they've got little to no resources, so it's important that they be empowered through these resources that the MEC is working hard to ensure that we get for them.